Today's episode is sponsored by Maria Hovris and EmmFashion. At EmmFashion, we believe passionately in quality and excellent service, which is why we commit ourselves to giving you the best of both. Handmade jewelry in Greece and Canada.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stellanidis United podcast, Your Voice Matters, where women share their stories of resilience and perseverance. And today, I am absolutely honored once again to have a phenomenal guest joining me all the way from Sydney, Australia, guys. And I'm telling you this, and I'm getting goosebumps as I'm mentioning to you. Because there's, when you get two Greek women together, there's nothing that can stop us. So, even though we're thousands and thousands of, miles or kilometers apart, you know what? When it's fate and when it's meant to be, things happen for a reason. So welcome, Kalliopi Roditis, to the show. Welcome, Kalliopi.
Thank you for having me.
My God, it's an honor. Thank you for accepting. I remember when I was mentioning this to you, I actually went to Greece a couple of weeks ago. And I saw my inbox and I saw that you had answered and you had accepted and was looking forward to joining the podcast. So it's an honor for me, and it's an honor to all the listeners as well and viewers.
Well, it's an honor for me as well to be on this show, because I know that, what you're doing is super, super important, and having Greek women from all over the world connect through important and common and relatable issues is huge. So I'm super excited to be here.
My God. Okay. So now the goosebump level has raised to another degree. You can't see it, but Kalliopi, so I have to say, first and foremost, obviously I've been following you on social media. The content that you post is absolutely sensational. It's incredible. And a lot of you, and you know what, before we get into, what you do in terms of content creation and how you were previously known as the Euro Queen, not the Gyro Queen, the Euro Queen, right? We're Greek here. Okay. I really want to hear a little bit about you and who Kalliopi Roditis is. Talk to us a little bit about yourself, and then you can, take it from there and tell us how you went into the brand creation influencer mode.
Yeah. So, I'm a Greek woman living in Australia, so I'm on the other side of the world. I was born in Greece. I was born in Athens, and my parents brought me here against my will, I might add, when I was 2 years old. So I
didn't know you were born in Athens. I didn't know you were born in Athens.
Yeah, I was born in Marousi, and because my dad's side had family here established already, he met my mum in Greece, and then she followed him, and they came here.
Yeah.
And so I've been living in Sydney ever since. I try to go as regularly as I can to Greece. Last year I went twice. The first trip to plan my wedding, and then the second trip was to get married. And
I can't wait to talk about your wedding too. I'm so excited, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as my life goes here, it's Australia is a beautiful country. I always say that we are quite blessed to be living in a country that accepts people from all cultures, all religions, all walks of life. And so I do love living here. My heart, of course, I think just like yours is in Greece. So that's where we are, emotionally and mentally.
Yes. Yes.
But I do love living here, and I studied a Bachelor of Media Communications and Journalism, worked in the field of media for quite some time, and then eventually now I am self-employed. The main employment that I had up until recently was actually my creator page, through all the promotions that I was doing for all the brands and the restaurants that I was working with. And that has somehow turned into its own path, I guess, of me doing marketing and social media for a lot of these people that were just previously my clients in terms of collaborations and promos. So now I'm self-employed and I'm running social media and marketing for brands, I guess. So,
yeah. Well, that's wonderful. And talking about Australia, you know what? I think it's the second largest country actually that has the highest penetration of Greeks right after Greece.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Australia is definitely on my bucket list, 100%. And probably in the next 2 to 3 years, I'm going to be coming with a family, or maybe just with my husband alone, and I'm going to be knocking your door, and well, you're going to take me for a nice euro, right? You took Angela to Lucas for euros. You have to take me for one.
It's 100%. You just really have to be prepared for that long flight.
I know.
It's terrible. It's the worst part of traveling anywhere to and from Australia.
But once you land in Australia, it's just, I've heard such great, wonderful things. It's so beautiful. And from what I see as well, and the Hellenismo, like the fact that there's so many Greeks there as well, like I'm just craving to come and visit, Australia.
I think you'll love it. I think you will. Honestly, it's very naturally beautiful. Like there's so many parts that I've been to that I'm still surprised and shocked seeing them. I'm like, wow, this is actually really beautiful. When you see it from an outside perspective, of course, when you've been living in a place for so long, you kind of get, bored of seeing the same site. But there's some spots in Sydney even that I'm just tired of seeing.
Well, listen, I just saw you just did a recent video in Sydney, and you seem so happy. Like you always seem so happy. And for the people that are going to be watching us and listening to us, Kalliopi, for me, obviously, there's a couple of things that I want to talk to you about. And, we'll talk about your wedding. We'll talk about, the adventure that you had in Greece. But I would really like to begin with what inspired. So obviously you have a background, as you mentioned, in communications and in media, but what inspired you to, take that plunge into the brand marketing influencer, and then that's them into becoming an influencer? What inspired you?
To be completely honest with you, I was not in a million years ever planning on being an influencer. It wasn't something that I ever wanted to do. Like, let's make that clear.
But you're so natural. You're natural, right? I mean,
it does tie into what I did initially want to do. So since I was a little kid, and this is me quoting my parents, I'm saying from like the age of 5, I apparently would walk around the house with a microphone interviewing people. And very early on, I made it quite clear that I wanted to be a journalist. And so that's why I studied journalism. And that's what the field that I was mainly focusing on and trying to get into. But I mean, unfortunately in Australia, we don't have a lot of channels. We've only got like 3 main ones. It's not like in Greece where there's a million different channels and a million programs. So that was a really, really tough career choice for the country that I live in. And although I was working in media during COVID, I just made this Instagram page for fun. So the Euros Queen started as a joke about all the gyro and souvlaki that I had eaten when I was in Athens the year before, which were a lot because I ended up in hospital from them.
Yeah, and hold on a second. So when I saw that and I saw one of your posts, I'm like, did she really end up in the hospital from eating too many gyros?
Yeah, but along the way I was taking photos of them. So I'm like, well, I've got to do something with these photos. I'm going to dump them somewhere. So while I was bored during COVID, I made the Instagram page and I just named the Euros Queen as a joke. And then I started posting all of these gyros and souvlaki, and then it somehow accidentally picked up from there. So when I was like showing all the restaurants that I was eating, of course, takeaway because we were all in lockdown, and I was ordering from them, people really started to follow along, and those business owners realized that this was actually helping their business.
100%.
So that's how it happened, for me to be an influencer of sorts. And it was primarily just a page of food blogging, my love for Greece, Greek food, Greek culture.
The traveling. And it's also, you know what? And also, Kalliopi, it's how you convey the message, right? So anyone, can take videos and pictures of gyros and restaurants and what have you, and the scenery and the beautiful Greece. It's not hard, right? A lot of people can do that, but it's how you convey the messaging. There's a lot of comedy, humor. Sometimes it could be just very, so natural, and you're just showing off grease, and it's just, you have a specific, you're very talented. Like I hope you know that, right? Like you're very talented, and it resonates with people.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, look, the thing is, like with me, I don't overthink things too much. So I know a lot of different content creators, like, they'll have a script in place and then they're going to know exactly what they're going to say. I always show up.
Yes.
I just rock up and I try my best, and I'm literally in the moment. And I think that that's what comes through to the viewers, because they can see, wow, this girl is literally just showing up, eating food, showing us what she's eating, taking us on the journey. And so that's what it was. Ultimately, it was a food page, and obviously the whole focus was Greek cuisine. And now it has developed, it has changed. I did decide to move away from that last year. I had been thinking about doing that for a while. I just was never really ready to, I suppose, like take the plunge, just because I knew very well the repercussions it would have. So I knew that I would be losing a lot of followers and, letting down a lot of.
So talk to us about that, Kalliopi. Why? So I'm just going to lower my chair because I look like a monster compared to uneven. But so talk to us about that. So why did you rebrand, right? Because for me, in my eyes, I remember when I was seeing, transparency, I know you're going to be very transparent, like, because I know the answer you're going to share, because we talked about it a little bit before when we were, prepping for this podcast. And I know what the message you're going to convey is going to be helping a lot of people, because, a lot of people go through, let's say, what you've been through in different facets. And a lot of people don't know how to rebound out of certain situations. So I think by you sharing your story, it's going to give courage and hope, right? To a lot of people that, they're going down one path, they're successful, but hold on a second, might have to put the brakes on and steer left or steer right. But when they do steer, there's a lot of fear there as well, right? And am I going to be successful? How is it going to be perceived? So talk to us why you felt like you have to rebrand.
Yeah, well, for me, it was always just something that I was extremely passionate about, supporting anything that was Greek, to be honest, like businesses, brands, just the community itself. And as you mentioned, Stella, we obviously have a very, very big Greek community in Australia, here in Sydney. So it was about genuinely helping and supporting a lot of businesses and a lot of families and people behind these businesses. It just got to a point where it was not reciprocated. So I was going out of my way to do X, Y, and Z for some business. And in turn, I wasn't met with any sort of support. In fact, I was just met with hostility. A lot of times, a lot of people just did not want to see me doing what I was doing. There was a very big lack of support from a wide range of industries, and obviously without going into it and saying names.
Right.
The pillars of the Greek community were the main ones that didn't want to support what I was doing or didn't want to even hear about it. And I could handle that for a while. I thought it's okay. Like, you're always going to have people be unsupportive. But the thing that was the most disappointing for me was that seeing how common this is within our culture and hearing that a lot of other people have similar experiences, being within the Greek community and not being met with a level of support. So for me, that was the part that was gut-wrenching, that it was specifically because I'm Greek and you're Greek too. So we cannot support each other. And that's one thing that I absolutely loathe. I hate that, particularly if it's amongst women. For me, that is the worst form of betrayal, is if I am a Greek woman, you're a Greek woman, and we can't support each other. And mainly it was the Greek women that were, very important members of our Greek community that didn't want to support me. And, I was met with a lot of hostility by them. And, eventually I just got tired. Eventually I just said, this table that I'm sitting at is not for me. So I got up and I changed tables. And I knew that would upset a lot of people, and rightfully so, because they were on this journey with me for that reason. Specifically, they were following me to see the Greek content. So I knew that with me coming out with this and saying this, which I had been contemplating and thinking about for a very long time, but I was only really able to do it when I came back from my honeymoon because I had a clear head.
Yes.
And I'm like, yep, it's time. I know that it disappointed a lot of people. I did lose a lot of followers. Stella, like till this day, I'm losing about 100 a day. They're still not happy.
You'll get them back. Back.
It's okay, because I think that these followers aren't the ones that are meant to be here, and that's fine. It's
you'll get others. You'll get, when I said you'll get them, you'll get others back, right? Because it's like you said, if they're dropping off and they're not following you, well, they don't deserve to follow you. Right. And I have something to say about what you said. So the reason why I started Stellinides United is for that very reason, Kalliopi, because so many Greek women here in Montreal, we always look to see, πώς να βγάλω το μάτι της Αλληνής. So translation, how can I literally remove the eyeball, right? From one woman to the other. And it's like, what does that mean? It means that there's hostility, there's animosity, there's so much jealousy. And she's doing this, and why is she doing this? Find out why she's doing this, or let's boycott this, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of animosity between Greek women, and I still till this day, I mean, obviously, I'd like to believe with my sisterhood that I've been able to make a dent, and that is, a dent so far in the Greek community, because I have met so many wonderful Kalliopi Greek women that I did not know before. I didn't know them before, and the influx of positive messages and support that I received from women that I didn't, that I don't know at all, but that have met me through this, the social media platform, and that have not even attended some of the events. I get more. A lot of times, I feel like I'm getting more support from them that I would expect to get from other people that I would expect to get, but I'm not getting it from. So I feel your why. I hate the fact that you felt that, right? But know that I don't know why it exists, but it exists across the Greek community, and more so amongst women, the jealousy. It's unfair, right? I mean,
the part that doesn't make sense for me is that even if you are a person that is prone to jealousy, if what I'm doing only impacts you in a good way,
correct.
Can't you put that aside and look at the greater good? And that's the part that for me was disappointing, was that, okay, you might have some sort of personal issue with me, whatever it is, which all of the time, I didn't know that there was a personal issue. But if what I'm doing
jealousy, the personal issue is jealousy.
That's the part that I was quite shocked by, and eventually got to a point where it was so stressful. It wasn't only just a matter of promoting businesses and just social media, which really at the end of the day is not that deep. It got to the point where it was financial, it was impacting my livelihood, it was legal. I had to be sending out cease and desist letters to people that were trying to hurt me so much and hurt my business.
Incredible.
They had personal vendettas against me. I had never dealt with any sort of issues like this before in my life. So for me to be thrown in that deep end, which I don't know how I ended up in.
That's not fair. That's very unfair, unjust.
I was a girl just eating gyro online, so I don't know how I ended up in a deep, deep waters like that. I thought I definitely bit off a lot more than I could chew. It was not what I signed up for at all. And this is not what I want to be doing. And I don't want to have this sort of life that's, this job is impacting my mental health, and I'm not going to let that anymore. So I just switched, I changed the direction.
Yes.
I said, yes, I feel I'm a very, very proud Greek woman. You know, the minute you meet me, that is the first thing that you will find out about me. I'm not hiding that anymore. It's just that there's also all these other layers that exist within me.
Mhm.
And I'm totally neglecting them and just focusing on the Greek community when that's telling me in its own way that I'm not wanted. So I can just focus on doing all these other things that I'm capable of doing. And whoever wants
Yeah.
to can just, you know, continue the journey with me.
Yeah, and very well said. And I really admire that you're such a humble individual, Kalliopi. And like I said, it's really sad, especially amongst women, when, we feel this. And like you said, I don't know why, right? Like, I mean, you were just a woman eating gyro and, promoting and having fun with the page. Yet you were seen as a rival or as a threat. I mean, like it just, for me, it boggles my mind. And it's just sad. It saddens me. But, you mentioned mental health. Kalliopi, every year I do an event on mental health. And the women are Greek women panelists. And, I have psychologists that are on the panel. I also have women that have experienced tremendous and severe anxiety disorders, panic attacks, women that have also contemplated and also attempted suicide. And I've used these individuals, I've used their, them as panelists, and their voice and their experiences have resonated. And this is why I repeat this event on an annual basis, because mental health is so important as well, right? As women, whether you're Greek, Italian, Lebanese, it doesn't matter what ethnicity we are. I mean, in one way, shape, or form, we do have to take care of our mental health, right? So whether it means pivoting into something completely different, or pivoting in your situation into something not totally different, but something that is more reflective and representative of you.
Yeah.
I believe you did the right decision. And like you said, those followers that don't follow you anymore, well, then you know what? You don't need them, because you're going to gain the right followers, because God's watching. You lead with your heart, and only good can come out of it, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And so talk to us about the new K for Kalliopi page. So talk to us. So how is it? I mean, obviously, I still see, the Greek influence in there. You made me laugh when I saw you on Ermou Street, and there was like journalists in the back filming, and you wanted to go in and with hopes of becoming a journalist.
I have this thing. I have this thing, like I know that it's very weird, but because a lot of people tend to shy away from the camera, and if they get stopped on Ermou Street and they get asked, "Can we interview you quickly for our channel?" 90% of people will say no. And I'm always that 1% that literally goes up to these people, and I'm like, "Yeah, here you go." But the reason for that is basically because when I was doing a lot of stuff on the Euroscan and I was interviewing a lot of business owners, sometimes I would go out on the streets of Sydney, and I would try and stop people. And it was so incredibly hard to get people just to stop and speak to you, because, most people are shy.
They're not comfortable.
Yeah, and they don't want to be bothered, and fair enough. So when I see them, it doesn't matter if they're these famous journalists or whatever, I actually feel bad, because no one's stopping to talk to them. And I'm like, hey, I'll do it.
They're human beings, right? They're human beings.
The really funny thing is that sometimes it gets me in very sticky and embarrassing situations, because, for example, not last year, but the year before, I went to Greece, and because my husband knows that I'm this type of person that I will always go up to, if there's a cameraman or a journalist, I will always go up to them. And so we had gone to the beach. It was summer, and I'm literally in the water with him, and he's like, "Kitάξε." He goes, "Είναι οι άνθρωποι σου." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Look, it's your people." So I see a full-on camera crew in the sun, on the sand, going around and trying to talk to people that are lying down. And no one was bothered. This was like a 35 Celsius degree day.
Yes.
Very hot. And people were just enjoying their time, and no one wanted to speak to them. And I was like, okay, I'll go speak to them. But mind you, I was wearing a white bikini, and because obviously in Greece, you're not just lying there, you're ordering something, like a drink or food or whatever, I would always order a strawberry granita because I love granitas and I
Me
don't drink
too.
coffee and I
Me
don't drink
too.
alcohol. Yeah. So I ordered a strawberry granita and because I'm clumsy, I had spilt it and I didn't realize that my white bikini had like this massive red spot on it. Anyway, so I'm in the water and it hasn't come off. It's like permanently dyed my bikini. And since I see them, they're about, I don't know, maybe 20 meters away. I swam. I have never in my life swam that quickly before. Like I'm
The
not
Mediterranean dolphin.
but
Kalliopi.
I swam so quickly. And I swam over to them and I go out of the water and I'm like, drying my pants. I'm like, and they're like, sure, we would love to speak to you. So, they started like, they just wanted to someone speak about the weather and how nice it is because, everyone's at the beach. And it was just general sort of report. And I just got this massive, massive word diarrhea. I could not stop talking. And I was like, ναι καλημέρα σας, έχουμε πολύ ωραία μέρα, θα έχουμε λιακάδα, έχουμε 35 βαθμούς, όπως βλέπετε ο κόσμος κολυμπάει. And I couldn't stop speaking. And then I decided to mention my Instagram page.
Oh, no.
At the time,
That's amazing, though.
I don't know why I did that. The word diarrhea was really bad. And then I mentioned that I eat souvlaki for a living in Australia. And the reporter's getting confused at this point. It's like, first of all, lady, I didn't ask. Second of all, what do you mean you eat souvlaki for a living? So now he has questions.
He was perplexed. He's
And
like, I got a wild one here.
Finally, he shut me up. Finally, he was like, like taking the microphone away from me.
Oh my God.
And in order for him to end the segment, he's like, Boris Amaskanis Miavutia, can you please do a little dive in the water? And I was like, sure. I can't dive. So I just belly flopped. Straight into the water. And like I had forgotten that the entire time he's filming me, there's just a red stain of granite on my bikini. And to end it all on a high note, I belly flopped straight into that water. And then I went and sat back on my exaplostra, had the audacity to go back on my Instagram, say to my followers, make sure you're watching this channel tonight at 7 p.m. because your girl's going to be on it. And I watched what they put, and Stella, they had put all of the people at the beach that were speaking to them. They excluded my entire segment, and they just showed the belly flop.
The belly flop!
The only part that made it on TV that day.
But it's okay. You made it on TV. Oh, hello. Oh,
and like, we can't work with this girl. Like, she's talking too much. We can't use any of it.
Yeah. You know what? You know what it is? It's like, they were probably perplexed. They're like, sheets, euros for a living? Like, sheets? They probably didn't understand it, right? But I mean, they're idiots because they would have gotten so much more viewership. Should they, checked out your Instagram, your social media platforms, and it's like, you're on TikTok as well? Because I'm not a big TikTok. Yeah. So listen, all I have to say is that, listen, you're just such a breath of fresh air, and like my eyeliner now is like leaking to the bottom because like I'm dying of laughter. And this is what I did, and I'm going to tell everyone. The other night, I was out looking at, I was on Instagram, and I was looking at Kalliopi's posts, and it's just, it made me feel so good about like myself. Just I was laughing, every single post that you've done, there's not one that I don't like. It's every single post. I mean, and look, I want to share the one where it's a gentleman. I don't know if it's a co-worker or what, or it's someone that you know, but that he's from Malaysia, correct?
Because you commented on that a couple of days ago, I decided to pull that one up again on TikTok. I just posted it again because I love that one. Yeah, so he's another food blogger, and at the time we had gone to a restaurant to promote it.
So talk to us about that.
Well, he was telling me that he loves the segment that I do, Malaka of the Day, which that transcends any form of, rebrand. That is staying on the page. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, that's staying on the page because unfortunately, we will never run out of malakas. So, he loves that segment, and I've got to tell you something. He goes, "That's my hometown in Malaysia. It's literally called Malacca," and I'm like, "No, Adrian, you are joking." He goes,
Like,
"No, look at
this is like, at that point, you're like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, this is it. This is like gold handed to you, right? Like, obviously, you're going to make content out of that. And do you interview him?
We got to let people know. We got to let people know about this place, and it blew up. People loved it.
Of course, how can it not, right? Yeah, so talk is this. So, and then you had a part 2, and he's like, yeah, I'm a real proud Malacca, and this and that. Jesus Christ. But does he know? He knows what the meaning of
He knows. He's across it. He knows. The thing is, it was kind of unfair because he was getting trolled in the comments by Greek saying, "Oh, he's definitely a real Malacca," but he knows what it means. He's the one that told me, about the correlation between the segment and where he's from. So, he's a good sport.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And so Kalliopi, look, thank you for sharing that. And so let's go back to the rebrand. So talk to us now about your page, K for Kalliopi. How is that special to you when, again, it's very unique to you, and I don't think anyone else can create the material that you're creating, and with such, I don't know, there's a lot of influencers out there, right? But you really resonated with me, and you resonate with so many people. But talk to us about that page. Like, why is it special to you?
Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, this page, the way that it is now, basically is a very, very true reflection of myself.
Correct.
As a woman, I am very, very feminine. So I do really love my fashion, my beauty, all that. And I kind of wanted this to become more of a page that's, focus on all those things. So I wanted it initially to be a page that is, for women.
Mm-hmm.
Although, unfortunately, my previous following was about 70% male, and because of all the food stuff that I was posting. So those, that demographic has obviously still stuck around. And I think that's a big part of why I'm still losing followers, and they're even telling me in my DMs, look, we're men, like, we're not interested in, you getting your hair cut and what lipstick you're wearing.
I love that. Fine. I love watching those. I mean, your hairdressers, and then coming out, and like the before and after, and then also the comments that it's just so for everyone. K for Kalliopi, please follow her page.
Thank you. It is a little bit of everything. I would say it's very much lifestyle because it is very, it has travel content. So when I was traveling through my honeymoon, and there's also a few more, interesting collabs that are coming up that are travel related. It is very heavily based on beauty, self-care.
Yes.
But primarily the message that I want to get across through my page is exactly what you actually said. So when you go on my page, you feel better about yourself. And I've gotten a ton of messages saying a similar thing, which I was very, very surprised by. And that just completely makes my day. Because I show up as myself. I'm authentic. I'm not pretending to be anyone else. I'm not filtering out my sense of humor or my personality. I'm not really trying to fit an influencer mold. I'm not out there pushing products in people's faces saying, I'm obsessed with this, you need to buy it. No,
but I can see that. I can see that, right? I can see that in you. It's genuine. You're very genuine.
Yeah. So and the thing is, like, with a lot of the brands that I do promote, if put it this way, I get a lot of messages about brands wanting to work together. And if it's not something that I personally love, you won't see it on my page.
Walk away. Yeah.
So I'm sharing things that I love. I'm sharing my experiences. And a lot of the time it's also just me going online and saying my thought of the day, because I do have many.
I love that.
Women, I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of things I want to say. I go online, I say them. Sometimes they rub people the wrong way. That's okay. We can't please everyone. So basically, it's just me being myself online. And I wanted to really, really reflect that it's a safe space for everyone, and that it's not any form of hatred or bullying or harassment will be tolerated. In fact, it is a place that we will most likely all make fun of you together if you are being a male.
Yeah. You know what? And look, I have to say that I want every piece of clothing that you own. Like, I love everything that you wear, the dresses. I mean, and obviously you're a very beautiful woman. And, when you promote, like you said, like, anything from makeup to the hair, wellness, and just the accessories and your beautiful rings that the pinky ring that's stunning, by the way. It's stunning.
Yeah, jewelry for me it's a soft spot. Like, jewelry is one of my biggest. I could just literally buy jewelry every single day of my
But you're
life.
you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're so elegant, and when you wear, like, I know you have a tennis necklace as well that your husband had bought you. It's
Yes, it was the
Sephora,
wedding,
there it is.
wedding gift.
It's timeless, right? It's just like what we say here in Quebec, a passe-partout. You can wear it with anything, right? Yeah, so your clothes are absolutely stunning. So, I mean, are they from Greece? I know you buy some clothes from Commence. Like, where do you get your outfits from? Because it's the two pieces. Oh my God, I don't know. Every outfit, I'm like, I want that. I want that. I want that.
They are from everywhere. I will say that most of the pieces I own aren't expensive. I don't think you need to spend much to look good. Very basic in my style, I guess. Like, I'm quite simple. You'll never see me doing things that are over the top. You'll never see big prints or patterns or labels all over me. You won't ever see that. But yeah, they're from everywhere. It's from everywhere.
Okay. And there is a store that you promoted, that you heavily promote, or I would say also believe in. Okay.
Yeah, and it's so much more than a store.
Sorry?
It's so much more than a store.
Well, this is it. So let's talk about it, because we have the equivalent here. So it's called Oracle. I want to hear a little bit more about that. And the equivalent to that is what we have here in Montreal, Laval. So Laval is a suburb in Montreal. And there's a lot of Greeks that live here in Laval. And it's called Meraki Boutique. And when I saw the clips on the videos on Oracle, I said, oh my God, it reminds me so much of Meraki Boutique, because you can buy clothes, you can buy shoes, you can buy labades, you can buy icons, they just opened up a cafe, they just newly renovated. So I'm like, wow, like, this is, they have baptismal stuff, Stefana as well. I saw you talking about the Stefana. So and you're very good friends with the owner, right? As am I with the girls from Meraki. So what's her name?
Her name is Natasha. She's an absolute angel of a woman. I adore this woman so much. And, she's one of the good ones. She's one of the ones that have been rallying for me and supporting me since day one. So when I met her, it was initially a business relationship. It was coming in to promote her store. And very quickly after that, we became friends, and I consider her family now.
You can see that you guys are friends. Like,
we are very close. All of the content that we film is 100% improvised on the spot. It's whatever comes to Akifali. We don't script any of it. And most of the time it is hilarious. She and I have that sort of chemistry with our sense of humor. So we are very similar in that aspect. The store itself has very recently, I think 2 weeks ago, it's closed down, but it's relocating. So she's opening up.
They closed it.
Oh, really?
They relocated right next door, but they rebranded in the sense that they have a cafe. I can't believe it. A cafe, a whole section now. It's so beautiful. So if you don't follow Meraki Boutique, follow it and show Natasha as well. And I'll follow Oracle too, because it's.
But yeah, she does everything handcrafted. So all the labades, all of the christening accessories, wedding stuff. She's got hands of gold. This woman, I could never do what she does. She's extremely talented. So yeah, she's really. She will be opening up in the next few weeks, and you'll definitely be seeing more crazy content.
Them too. They're hands on. They do everything like themselves. Like from the christening point of view, like they're so creative, and it's like the renovation in the store. When I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, it's like heaven in here. She's like, I did this. I'm like, wow, So, and it's nice because it's so important to promote and support the women. Like, I really believe in women supporting women and being genuine, right? So ever since I launched Sunnitas United Kalliopi, I have to tell you, I know who the people that are fake. I know the people that are, saying what they need to say so they could look nice or good, right, in front of people, but then you know who the genuine ones are, right? And then, like Mel Robbins says, let them. Because I'm a very sensitive person. And sometimes, and I'm like, why did they say that? Or why did she say that? Why did she have to do this? And I'm like, you know what? Let them, let them, let them. So at this point, like Mel Robbins, let them. And you've clearly let them. You've done what you needed to do. And you've created this. I would see a rebrand, but also I see it an extension. I see it as an evolution, right? Not only a rebrand, but as an evolution. So bravo. So congratulations for that. You do mention sometimes, I've heard you mention, we talked about the haters. We're always going to have haters, right? In whatever, in anything we do, we're always going to have haters, and let them be. But you've talked about a topic, Kalliopi, and I want to and thank you, because I did ask you beforehand if you were comfortable in addressing this, because you talked about domestic abuse. You were in a relationship 5 years ago, and I want to say thank you for being brave in posting the post that you did, because that's all it takes sometimes is one post. And you don't know how you can impact and influence in a positive way so many women and men, right? There's men that suffer from domestic abuse as well. But more and more today, I know, when I was in Greece 2 weeks ago, my cousins, they talk to me and they tell me there's so much domestic abuse that happened, especially in Greece, a lot. And look, in the sense that a lot of this could have been prevented, even though women have come forward and have gone to authorities. Sometimes it could have been prevented, but it had, it led to even deaths, right? So if you don't mind, if you just like to talk very, whichever deep or not deep, it's up to you to the extent that you want to discuss that, because I can tell you the women that are watching, this is going to really resonate with them as well.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it is a very, very common issue that is happening in Greece, all over the world. Here in Australia, we have a domestic violence pandemic. So every single week, a woman is dying at the hands of a man, and it's most of the time at the hands of a man that's her partner or was her partner. So for me, me posting that video was primarily because of the charity that I was supporting. And I hadn't thought about opening up about my past with domestic violence many, many, many times, but I could never
really. What held you back? What held you back?
On the trigger to press post.
What held you back, Kalliopi?
Well, a few things. So I couldn't really face what I had been through up until quite recently. So even though it was over 5 years ago, because I have been now with my current husband for 5 years.
You guys make a beautiful couple, by the way.
Thank you. Well, he's an absolute angel.
Bravo.
Yeah, it's and that's the funny thing about how domestic abuse and any form of trauma impacts the mind. It's that when you're finally in this safe place, that's where all the demons come out to play. So me being in an abusive relationship, which was for 5 years, was purely survival mode. It was purely Stockholm syndrome. I don't refer to him as my ex-lover, ex-partner. I refer to him as my abuser, because that's not love. And that's the message that I really want to make loud and clear, is that if there is any form of abuse, it is not love. So I don't refer to him as my ex. So when I was in that situation, it was very much fight or flight. It was very much, how do I escape this? And unfortunately, it took a very long time to escape, but I did manage to get out of it. And I'm so, so thankful to God that I did. But now that I am in this incredibly loving and gentle and kind and safe relationship, a lot of it comes back, and it is sadly related to PTSD and to anxiety. So I am in therapy for that. And I think that speaking up about that, there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, I think a lot of people should, a lot more influencers or creators should be speaking up about their
I
mental health
agree.
issues.
I agree.
Yeah. And just the things that trauma does to the brain, to the mind
Right.
is incredible. But, the thing is, I, for a very long time, battled with accepting it, accepting that I would allow myself to be in that
His
position.
situation.
We have these sort of stereotype that
Right.
a woman that is being abused is always a quiet woman. It's always a shy woman. It's someone that is easy, an easy target, an easy
Mm-hmm.
victim,
Mm-hmm.
and we never really associate her with the loudest woman in the room,
Right.
with the loudest personality, with a confident woman, with a woman that has so many great qualities about her. We're always kind of focusing on, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, she's allowing this to happen, so she's got some sort of weak mindset or low self-esteem. So for that reason, that stereotype was in my mind. I struggled
Yeah.
so much with accepting how I would let myself be treated this way and tolerating it for such a long time. Um, and eventually I realized it has absolutely nothing to do with me. It
No, it
has everything
doesn't.
to
Yeah.
do with that person and with the issues that he has. Um, it's just not a reflection of me at all. If anything, it reflects on my kind heart, how soft I am, how many things I'm willing to tolerate and
Yes.
forgive.
Yeah.
And that's why now I'm a lot more comfortable with speaking about it, because I know that it changed me as a person. It not only was, you know, physical abuse, it was also mental and
Yeah.
emotional, financial. It was all forms of abuse. I wasn't even speaking to my own family. I wasn't speaking to friends. I was isolated. And at the same time, there was a very big, power play because it was actually a person who, again, is a very, very big pillar of the Greek community here in Sydney, Greek Cypriot community.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
But we don't
it's,
understand them when they speak, right? We don't understand the Cypriots when they speak. You made it a little,
well,
a
I
little
understood.
adorable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's someone that would try to use this form of, wealth and power that they have
Yeah.
because of the that they owned against me and would always try and keep me silent. And um eventually I was able to escape only because I met my current husband. And it was
Good.
the first time well, a man treat me with a lot of kindness and respect and spoke to me in a very soft way.
Yes,
But I thought, hold on a second, this actually isn't normal.
that's right.
So I was able to get out of that. It took a while, but I was able to get out of it. And I know that it's something that like it's a bit of a difficult topic to talk about on my page because when people come to my page, like you
It's
said,
lighthearted. It's
they relief.
lighthearted.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is a very serious issue. It's not lighthearted at all. But I do think that because of the reach I have, it is important to
Extremely.
open up about not just the funny and the
Yeah.
easygoing parts of life, but the real parts of life,
Yeah.
and the effects that trauma has. So the
Yes.
abuse doesn't just end because you've left that relationship or that
It
situation. The
continues. Yeah.
trauma that it has is very, very long lasting. So I'm very fortunate that I'm able to use my platform to touch on that topic. I have spoken up about it a few times. I know a lot of people seem to get triggered, and mostly men. And that for me, again, it's like these are the people that I don't want following me.
No,
You're going to sit there and try and justify a man laying his hands on a woman.
no,
Please follow me, please block me. Like, I don't want to exist in your
exactly. Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Um, I will say that it is nice and refreshing that I'm able to now be myself and show my
Mhm.
authentic self to so many people because that was one thing that this particular guy did not like at all. He never wanted me to
Okay.
be anything. And he told me so many times that I will never be anything and I will never amount to anything and no one will ever remember me. But, it's important to speak up about it. It's important to
Yeah.
show people that is something that impacts any type of woman, any type of person.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't discriminate. It really doesn't discriminate.
So, Kalliopi, I was listening to you, and I have to tell you, and even when I sent you the message that I did, I was bawling when I saw that the clip. Um, First and foremost, yes, your page is, like I said, lighthearted. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of lifestyle and just seeing you. It's wonderful. But the beautiful part about opening up and sharing this vulnerable side of yourself as well is also part of you, Kalliopi. It's also what makes Kalliopi Roditis, right? So not the part that you suffered, which is, and obviously the trauma, as you mentioned, continues, right? Because and you're, thank God, you're in therapy, and being, Greeks, come from a Greek family, you're seeing a psychologist, so what's the matter? There's
Yeah.
something wrong with you. But for me, I see a psychologist as well, right? I suffer from specific PTSD that has happened in my life as well. And I see a psychologist because I need to seek professional help, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I want to say that I'm so proud of you, Kalliopi. I'm so proud of you for being strong, for coming out, for sharing that part, because there's a lot of women that suffer. And you mentioned there's, physical abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse. And there's so many different types of abuses. And so oftentimes it's like, oh, it wasn't physical abuse, then well, she can live with the mental abuse. No, I mean, so
Yeah.
there's misconception. So I find by individuals like yourself coming forward, and I had Marolitra as my first podcast guest as well, and she talked about that as well. She was very candid and transparent. By coming out and talking, you are going to be helping so many more women to come out and be brave, and and take and say, no, that's enough. I've had enough, right? And you also mentioned something very interesting. There's also a misconception, as you mentioned, that a woman that's being abused, whether it's physical, mental, tends to be more of the shyer ones, or the ones that are not, as vocal. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And I'm really glad that you brought that up, right? Because no one is um, exempt from being a potential victim. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing that you're still continuing to, you know, seek the help that you need, because we shouldn't be even ashamed to seek help. And for the people that blocked you, let them block you. Let them block
I
you.
prefer that. I do
And
prefer that. Yeah, it's so interesting because I don't think I would have come to this point in my life where I can talk
Mhm.
about this so openly if it actually weren't for my husband, because he was the one that identified all these little issues that I was having. He moved to Australia from Greece to be with me, and this was during COVID lockdown. He came and stayed here, and it was just me and him.
Yes,
As you can see, this tiny little apartment, what you see here is 80% of it. There's a bedroom and then a little tiny balcony. So it's a very, very small
that's all you
apartment.
need. Exactly.
And that's where I really learned an important life lesson, which was that if you are with the right person, and that is for me a person that respects you, you could literally be living in a hole and it will feel like paradise. It will feel like you are in a
Yep.
safe, and you could be living in a huge, huge mansion with the wrong person and it will not be big enough. You
No,
will
and
not be
not
able to
be
get
big
away
enough.
from each other.
Yes,
And
yes.
so when we were stuck together in lockdown, we were having some of the best times of our whole life. We were playing music together. He's also a musician. He plays the guitar, I play the piano. We were just finding all these sorts of ways to entertain ourselves, I guess, further than the watching Netflix and binging all these reality TV shows. It was really a relationship that was built on communication, on seeing that we had common interests, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we have this very high level of respect for one another, and we've never once not once raised our voice to each other. In 5.5 years that we've been together, we've never said shut up. I've never called him a name. He's never called me a name. It's always, if we disagree, it's a little disagreement. We'll come
Yeah.
back to it after 10, 20 minutes and we're going to be lovey-dovey again. And that's where it ends. And I didn't know that that's how actual adults deal with things. But he realized that no matter what was happening, no matter how happy the relationship was and how happy he made me, there were still parts of myself that I was struggling to accept, and there was still suffering going on. So he would just see me waking up from nightmares every single night. He would
Yeah.
see me in panic attacks whenever a violent scene would come on TV.
Yeah.
And he spoke to me and said, look, I really don't think these things are normal. And, I can only do so much for you to
Correct.
love you and to make you happy. I think these are out of my reach. And I do think that you need to seek professional help because this is out of my reach.
Bravo,
And so
bravo.
when I
Yeah.
decided to start seeing a psychologist, which then
Good.
obviously diagnosed me with the PTSD and the anxiety.
Yeah.
But that's also when I decided to take the power back in my hands because I said, you know what? This person is out there in the community, and he's tortured me for 5 years. And he is a dangerous, dangerous person. And I don't want him to do this to anyone else
To
again. So
anyone
I'm
else.
going to hold him accountable. And we walked into the police station together and we came forth with a statement. We filed a report against him. And that was
Good
the
for
first
you, Kalliopi. Good for you.
time that I spoke up and I felt like I took my power back. And then what obviously continued after that, what proceeded was legal proceedings. And during
Yeah.
COVID, it was quite messy because the court kept delaying it and blah, 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 blah. The thing is that in that matter of time that we were going through the legal proceedings, he had gotten a Brazilian girl pregnant, was living with her and her baby. And I one morning woke up to a message at 5 a.m. on Instagram from her family in Brazil that had used Google Translate to send me a really long message and tell me that they don't know who else to reach out to, but that their daughter is missing and she's in some women's shelter because she's been beat up so badly that she's left in the middle of the night with her baby.
Oh my
To
God,
me, seeing
Kalliopi.
that this it sent me into a spiral because I thought
Aspire.
the whole reason why I'm holding him accountable is so that he doesn't do this to anyone else. I was praying to God that I would be the last woman he would do that to. And it doesn't matter that it happened to me as long as I know that it doesn't happen again. The fact that he did it again,
Yeah. So
it's
you know what?
very, very difficult. So I went back into the police. And I filed a report on her behalf because I reached out to her and it was just exactly what I had gone through. It was just, she didn't want to come forward. There was nothing wrong. It was all fine. She was hiding everything. And, it's your fault because you took him to court. So that's why he got angry. It's your fault. So she blamed it on me. And I understood that. Obviously, like I can't reach out to her.
It's
She
her
doesn't,
defense mechanism, right?
not ready yet to come forward. And I completely
Yeah.
understood where she was. So then I went and filed a report again on her behalf. I showed the police her screenshots from her family that I
I know.
had sent
Yeah.
that she had gone through abuse. Long story short, she was able to get an emergency visa for her and her baby to flee the country. And now she's gone back home and she's with her family.
Thank God. Thank
And
God.
the whole point of this is that after two separate women have come forward with, evidence of abuse, and two separate AVOs. So I'm not sure if you guys call them AVOs,
Yeah.
they're two restraining orders.
Restraining
Um,
order. Yeah.
he just walked away with 6 months counseling for
That's
abusive men.
disgusting. So that enrages me, right? It enrages me so much because he literally got away with murder, right? I mean, like it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
It's unfathomable to me that this person is still out there in society. It's very close to my house, actually, because he owns a cafe just 5 minutes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And he's just out there and he's dangerous. He's completely dangerous to women, to anyone that meets him. I would love to warn, if there was a way
Yeah.
to warn women that the person you are actively getting into a relationship with is a dangerous criminal, because in my eyes, that's what he
Oh yeah,
is.
he's a criminal, 100%,
And
100%. I
yeah,
don't. I'm so glad we brought this topic up, and I have to tell you, I'm a mom of two boys. My older one's going to be 21. My younger one's going to be 16. If I ever find out that either one of them would engage in this type of activity, I would be the first one to bring them to jail and say to the police station, say, you know what? Lock him up, right? It's completely unacceptable. Okay. So to all the people that are watching and listening, domestic abuse, domestic violence, it's not okay. And if you've grown up in an environment, whether it's Greek, any other different culture, it's not okay. Even if you think it's okay, even if you saw your father do this to your mother and then you think it's okay, it's not okay. Even if you saw your father do it to yourself, right? And then you think that hitting, or again, there's hitting and there's also the verbal. So the verbal, I also want to emphasize that that's completely unacceptable, right? So, Kalliopi, thank you for bringing that up. I can't even tell you how many people you're going to help. And you're a Wonder Woman. You are a Wonder Woman, and you're an angel, and you're a lioness. As I messaged you, what's your sign? What's your zodiac sign?
Leo.
You're a Leo. So
You
am
just said
I.
it, yeah.
Oh my God. What's your birthday?
July 30th.
Okay, July 3rd. So I'm August 14, but I'm like, I feel it because you feel
Yeah.
it with Leos, right? So you could sense as you're sharing the story, I just wanted to like, okay, so look, Kalliopi Mo, I have to say, I want to end it on obviously, we've shared a lot on the podcast, and I hope you felt comfortable with
Yes.
me, and I want to end, obviously on a positive note. But before because there's always a question I ask all my guests, okay? But before I ask you that final question, please share a little bit about your wedding, your experience in Greece, and because it was a dream of yours, right, to get married, and you looked like Cinderella. Like I have to tell you, your dress was stunning.
Thank you so much.
Isso na Santa Cinderella. I mean, you were a princess, and of course, you walked into the reception hall, into my favorite Greek singer, Konstantinos Argyros, Sagapao
Yeah.
Ti. I'm like, oh my God, this is my like the duplicate of Stella in Australia, right? So talk to us a little bit about your beautiful, like the nuptials, getting up to that and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It was honestly, it was a dream come true. And when I say that, it's funny because I always, like, as a little girl, I always dreamed of having this huge wedding. And the way I envisioned it was I would be in a room full of hundreds of people wearing this massive, massive, expensive gown. And in my mind, I thought that I would be drenched in diamonds all over me. This was me as a little girl. And it was going to be just this huge ballroom and all that. And this wedding was not that. This wedding was a very, very intimate wedding. We didn't even have 100 guests. I think it was something like 95. It was our closest families and friends. It was very intimate. It was in Athens. So as I mentioned, I was born in Athens, and my husband, he moved from Athens to well, from Piraeus
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Sydney. So it made a lot of sense why we would want to get married there.
Yes.
He doesn't have any friends or family here. I have half of my family here and half of them back in Greece, both
Same. Same.
from my dad, sorry. So
Yeah.
from my dad, it's both of them split here and there. From my mum, there's no one. They're all in Greece. So majority of our family is in Greece. I had given a lot of my friends ample notice 2 years in advance when I got engaged. And I said, guys, just so you know,
Hands up.
2024.
Green light.
So they plan around it, which was great. We were able to get around 20 of our friends come from Australia and
Poliera.
my
Very nice.
immediate
Yeah.
family as well. But it was nothing like that wedding I thought I was going to have. And you know what, Stella, it was so much better because I
Yeah.
didn't have huge emphasis on all the luxurious, the flowers and the dress being expensive and the cake. In fact, the cake that I ordered and the cake that I received,
I know.
yes, like literally
Give me a
two
sieste. Yeah.
very different cakes.
No.
To my surprise, on the day, I was like, oh well, I guess we're just gonna go with this one. And it really wasn't because I don't know about you guys in Montreal, but here in Sydney, we tend to have this obsession with like the portrayal of a luxurious lifestyle, and the Greek weddings here are insanely expensive. And I find it so sad that a big emphasis on it is on portraying wealth rather than the marriage and the
Let me
love between two
let me tell
people.
you one thing. When I got married, I think I had about, I think it was 250, 270, somewhere there. Half the people, I don't, three-quarters of the people, I don't even see anymore. I had to invite my mother's boss, and his partner at the time, and you're like people like, who are these people? Like, but Odropi, we have to invite them, because so I invited a lot of people based on my parents and who they wanted. But at the end of the day, like you
That's
said, 70 to 80 people, that's what you want, because these are the people that you know and that are near and dear to you, and you want them to share that special moment with you. Yes, here
yeah.
we have elaborate weddings, but at the end of the day, it lasts one day. So we don't,
Exactly. And ours wasn't in any like it was absolutely stunning. It was
I
beautiful, but
saw
we
it was
we
stunning.
didn't place an emphasis on going over the top with flowers or with decorations. We wanted to kind of just keep it very simple,
Yeah.
and we wanted the focus to be on us
Yes.
and the love that we have for one another. So in that sense, it was my dream wedding, and it
Mm.
was even better than what I imagined as a little girl, because when I was a little girl, I was so excited about the dress and the cake and the flowers. And in my mind, I hadn't thought, hold on, what about
Yeah.
the husband,
Yeah.
And I was just so content and so at peace and happy on that day, because I was
You were
marrying,
glowing. You were glowing.
yeah, like the love of my life. And I was so happy, like nothing in the world could have ruined that. So I didn't care that the cake looked funny, or that, I didn't get the flowers in a certain way or whatever. I
But
was
who
just so
cares about
happy.
that? Those are like, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
so
was
it
the
was
vibe.
it was absolutely magical. I'm so happy that we got married in Greece. And then after
Good
that,
for
we had our
you.
honeymoon in Europe. While we were already there, we went to Paris, which is my other favorite, city. After Greece, France for me is
Hmm.
just, I'm obsessed with it. And we went to Spain and to Italy. So it was wonderful.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And yeah, no, you look like a princess. I loved your dress. I love the fact that it was a ball gown and you were so happy. You could just see that happiness exude through the videos, right? And you did like a recap 2024 as well, and it was amazing. And I have to say another facet that also connects is not only that because we're Leos and we're Greek and we're women, but you did, for your bachelorette party, you were wearing the cowboy boots, right? So the other day, hear this, right? So I really want to go to Nashville, Tennessee. I want
Me
to
too.
buy,
Like that's like
you see,
number one on my
you
list.
too?
I'm obsessed with that.
We have to meet up, like we'll go with the hubbies,
Yeah.
we'll go. And I told my husband the other day, I said, you know what? I said his name is Narer, right? And I go, Narer, I want to buy cowboy boots. Because why would you want to buy cowboy boots? He goes, we're not in Texas. We're not, he goes, I don't see anyone in Montreal wearing cowboy boots. I'm like, but I want to buy cowboy boots. I want to buy the real and here you can't. There's no stores. I mean, if you find one store, they're not probably not even real leather. You can order it off Amazon, and it's not the same. Like I want to go, either to Texas, but it's Nashville, Tennessee. I want to go there. And when I saw you post the cowboy boots, the silver ones, I'm like, my God, this is exactly what I want, right? You had such a blast on your bachelorette, right?
I had two of them. I
Two,
had two
yeah.
bachelorettes. And the reason for that is not only because obviously like I wanted to include my friends here that wouldn't be able to travel.
Yeah.
But also, and this is a running joke I've had with my friends for a while, it's that they always say that there's always two parts of me. And
Yes.
then the one part of me is Kelly, who is like for some reason obsessed with everything country and southern and country music, cowboy boots.
I
That's
love
Kelly.
Garth Brooks.
Yeah, me too. And
I
then
went
there's
to his
Kalliopi.
concert twice. I'm like,
And then there's Kalliopi, which is the Greek girl that wants to be, in European summer and by the beach in Greece and doing all the Greek things. And those two are very different personas. So I was like, how can I, scratch that itch for both of them and
Yes.
satisfy both
Yeah.
for this wedding? And so that's where we decided to have a bachelorette that was cowgirl themed in Sydney. So all the girls had to dress up in cowboy boots.
And the cowboy hat?
Yeah. And then when we went to Athens, that's the more bougie. That was Kalliopi came out and she wanted to have a good time. So we were
I
like, at a
saw.
Greek
Wow.
club, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
You know what? You're such a breath of fresh air, Kalliopi, and I wish you all the best and everything that you do in your life and your career. And again, you're a true testament to what it means when we use the word, you're a warrior, right? I mean, in every sense of the word, your career, what you've gone through in your life, and always with that beautiful smile on your face. But
Thank you.
that hamoyulo is always there. I always like to end my each podcast by asking my guests the following question. So, if if you were in New York, in Times Square, and you know how you have the logos or the address, the words going across, um, what would you want those words of encouragement and inspiration to be? It could be a word, it could be a sentence, but flashing in Times Square.
Definitely, I would want it to be you're stronger than you think.
Mm,
I think that
very
resonates with
nice.
a lot of people, and I think that a lot of people also need to hear that.
Yes, because oftentimes I think we can be also our biggest critic or the biggest we can be the ones that provide a lot of self-doubt in ourselves as well. So that's you're stronger than you think. That's amazing. So to everyone listening out there, you're stronger than you think. Never give up, and I actually did a post the other day and I said I was mentoring some young women in at a local university here. And one of the messages was, you're going to get a door that's going to close, but you know what? Look at the next door, knock it down, kick it down, be brave because you got this. You got to believe in yourself. And there's always going to be, when one door closes, like we say in Greek, another one opens, right? So with that, Kalliopi, is there anything else you would like to share, final thoughts, or how did you feel throughout this podcast?
I would love to share that I have received so many messages from Greeks in Montreal and just telling me that I need to go, and it is so high on my list.
You have
And
to
I,
come.
I really hope I can come out there in the next couple of years. I would love to see the Greek community in Montreal, and yeah, I
You
would
have to
love to.
come. You have to come, and I'm gonna definitely greet you, and I'll show you around as well, and it's gonna be nice. And actually, one last thing. Do you know Yaya Nitsa? I think she's in Melbourne, right? Is
Oh,
she
is she
still
in
doing?
Melbourne? I thought she was here in Sydney.
Is she in Sydney? I don't know, but I know she's in Australia, and
Oh, yeah.
my
She's so
mom, it's
cute.
5 years since she's passed away, but I remember, God rest her soul, my mom, when she was alive, she's the same age as Yayanis, and I would show her, Mama, kitafto, kitafto, oh my God. And she was so, I think she stopped making content, or her granddaughter stopped making content for her. I don't see her as often on social media, but she's a classic too, right? So
I love her. She's
now
so
there's
sweet.
Yaya Sophia. There's Yaya
I
Sophia.
have a soft spot for any elderly person.
Yeah.
That is my weakness.
So Yaya Sophia, I don't know if you follow her. I think they're based in New York out of the US, but it's her granddaughters and she's a classic. I think she turned 90 or 95, something along those lines. And she tells them off. Like she goes like literally she whatever's on her mind, she just tells them off. So it's Yaya Sophia. You have to follow her. She's hilarious. But Kalliopi, it's been such a great time with you. Um, I love your soul. I love who you are. I love the fact that we're both Leos, and I was dying to ask you because I'm like, your personality, mas poliparomi, we're very similar, and look, the future's bright. And I love the fact that you keep saying, I'm not 31, I'm 30. And if people ask me, I'm 30, right? So yeah, not 31, you're 30. So I'm not gonna tell you my age. I'm a little older, but I'm much older, but it's all good.
35.
35. Okay, so I'm gonna stick to 35 as well. There are 35. God bless you, Kalliopi Mo, and I wish you nothing but success. And for anyone that is not following Kalliopi, so I'm on Instagram, so it's K for Kalliopi. What is your TikTok page?
So both of them, Instagram and TikTok, they're both K for Kalliopi.
K for Kalliopi. So please follow her. She's absolutely amazing. And she takes you on this journey, her own journey, and I just love who you are. Que
Thank you
nace
so much.
kala, o Theos nase hipada kala. And I want to wish you a happy early Easter. Christos Anesti, I saw even when you took the Iofos and you're doing the cross on your apartment. So Christos Anesti, you're ahead of time. But I'll probably message you, what is it, 13 or 14 hours before, because you guys are ahead. Yes. So
Thank you so much for having me. And honestly, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. I
yes.
feel like I'm talking to a girlfriend, and I'm really
Yes.
excited the day when you do knock on my door in Sydney, because I will hold you to that. We will go and eat Greek food together. And I'm
Yes.
excited to see you,
Yes.
but it's been lovely speaking with you, and I'm in full support of what you're doing. I
Thank
absolutely
you
love it.
so much. Thank you. Yeah. And if more people can follow my page, the Stellanides United on Instagram, and or obviously the YouTube channel where people are going to be watching this beautiful podcast, right? So God
Definitely
bless
go
you.
follow Stellanides United.
Yes, Stellanides United on the podcast, exactly on the YouTube, and your voice matters. And remember that your voice matters, Kalliopi. And that's it. So thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful morning. I think it's morning there. It's evening here. One of the best 1.5 hours I've spent throughout my life, honestly, because like you said, I feel like I've been speaking to a girlfriend, and we just literally met
Yeah.
like literally through social media a couple of days ago, right? So have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, Stella.
Bye.
This episode was brought to you by Maria Hovers at EmmFashion. At EmmFashion, we believe passionately in quality and excellent service, which is why we commit ourselves to giving you the best of both handmade jewelry in Greece and Canada.